Hello there. So, I just went through the book Awaken Online Timeless, and honestly, this book kind of feels like where I'm going to end it. I might continue on to the rest of the series, but it just started out how I don't like it. I don't like it when things dabble with time. After everything everything's a team up battle now. This is literally starting to become the worst of the worst. It's Fast and the Furious meets Endgame, where they have to correct everything and they go back in the time. And I'm not a fan of Endgame. I'm not a fan of Fast and Furious. It's one of those things where everyone has to get together. In the end, they're going to end up beating all the original avatars, and then they're going to have to join forces to fight the next big baddie. It's like, and the things that are going on in the real world are even more cartoonish than what's going on in the game at this point. It's like he needs to up the stakes. I liked it when it was grounded in reality, where it was a trial. It was something that was more, and now it's just to the point where it's all science fiction, and it's just like it was the real world part that kept us grounded, and it was the fantasy world that was like overly epic, which would make us realize that it is a marvelous world. Only to find out at the end of this book that it's just all one and the same. It's kind of aggravating to get through it. Like, there were parts I liked, but at the same time, when you deal with time, someone like me has issues when you deal in like pocket universes, all this time stretches. And then remember, you got to keep in mind that it's a computer that holds all this information that you're tampering with, which means every time alteration you do creates an alternate world in the mind brain of the computer. So there's all this little stuff that is just, okay, so all this stuff was happening in the background. Sure, some of it was during the beta, but it's like there's a lot of it that's just like, it just sounds too much like everything else. They backed themselves into a corner, and there was either just have it be over, have Armageddon be the end of the world, have him lose, have him win. But the way they did it just felt like it was lackluster, because now it's just like, okay, great. So they were able to go back in time and create a safe space for them. Now that creates a whole bunch of continuity errors. They basically rewrote all the characters. So it was like, oh yeah, because the game is supposed to change how they are. So let's not make this character evil. Let's have it actually make this character evil. Let's make him upset. The reason he wasn't getting because of this thing was because he wanted actually him to do this. It was. A lot of it is just, I don't care. I mean, there are parts which are still interesting. I've spent a lot of time reading. There are 10 of these books. 11 of these books now? I don't know how many. I've read all the side quests as well. This is book 7, I think, in the actual series. But it's aggravating to go through and be like, well, this just seems like he backed himself into a corner, and now he needs to create a base. It would have made more sense if the Earth Avatar, there was a side book for the Earth Avatar, and just happened to have the base built. Just happened to know where it was going because the fates told her. That would have made more sense. So everything was pre-planned. The breaking of the orb, everything, because everything was kind of strategically placed. Instead, you take a main character, have him go to the back, have him relive certain instances in the last few minutes. And it was just, I didn't feel for it. It was like, all right, I sped through the book as quickly as possible just to get to the end because I was trying to, it's funny. The other one was aggravating with how the characters were all childish. Here, again, it's about Jason who doesn't know what he wants. When is that going to stop being the main focus of Jason's arc? Or is this really what I want? In the first book, he realized he just wanted power. And then in the next book, he realized that he wanted to build something. And then he realized, oh, this. In the last book, he realized, oh, he just wants to be a fighter. And then in this book, he realizes, oh, those are all lies I've been telling myself. Well, what the heck? What the heck? If this is going to be a running arc throughout the entire series, then I don't care. If he's never going to grow and it's always going to be the same issue, then what's the point of watching the kid? Like, I always enjoyed watching his character outsmart people, only for him to be dumb in certain parts. Like this one, it was two smart people who refused to get along and like doing everything themselves, which is one thing I liked. But it didn't work for me because it was just like, okay, she gets mad because he does this because she didn't tell him X, Y, Z. I mean, didn't tell him the entire alphabet. So how can she be upset that he's doing all this stuff when he doesn't know anything about what's going on? But yeah, I hate it when there's a character like that. It's just like, if anything, either have a way to manipulate him. You wrote a contract. It should be where he has to follow your every order. It's It's dumb. I don't like contract magic. I don't like it. It's always left up for interpretation. There's always loopholes, and somehow always someone figures a way to get out of it. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to continue. I mean, I've spent a lot of time going through the series, but this one was just the one where I'm like, I think that's it for me. I think that's it. It's kind of run its course. It's the same arc over and over and over and over again. And I'll just assume that Armageddon was the end of it. Yeah. And this is him, and he's snapped because he's lost everything, and he's just pretending in his own brain that he's rectifying everything. Yeah. Thank y'all for watching. I hope you preferred the book better than I did. I just struggled with it. It just wasn't for me. It just felt like too much of the same thing, too much of what's made other franchises, big franchises, into trash, and it's just bothersome for me. Bothersome. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Doodles.